beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel, Entrepreneur Sales. Hopefully you don't mind my singing. It's very spontaneous and random there. But I wanted to drop this video. I was sitting here thinking, I'm dropping these sales framework videos. I might as well keep adding all the different frameworks and formulas that I know. So I wanted to jump into this. This is called the MEDDICC formula or the MEDDICC framework, and it's a really beautiful qualification process that I think everyone should know about. That way, depending on the situations that you're in, you're able to apply it. So before we kind of dive in, let me ask you a good question here. How much time have you spent chasing someone recently? Someone you just pitched. You've been following up for like months, right? Only to hear when they actually do pick up that, hey, we're going to hold off. Or we're thinking about it. We're going to revisit this next quarter, Janet. We've decided to keep things in-house, Stephen. So what happens is you guys hear these things, and after months of optimism, of following up, and doing all the great things I've taught you in your follow-up, what happens is you blame yourselves. Yeah, I must not have closed well enough. Then you come back and start watching one of my videos again. Well, maybe that could be the case, but more often, you should have never been trying to close that opportunity in the first place, because closing doesn't fix poor qualification. That's something you need to understand. If you spend 60 minutes speaking with someone who is never capable of buying, it doesn't matter how persuasive you are. Just think, that's like trying to harvest crops before you've never even planted anything. So don't just ask, how do I close better? Ask yourself, should I even be spending my time here? So I'm going to cover one of the most respected qualification systems ever developed. This framework has helped me close a ton of deals. It's helped, enterprise sales teams close contracts worth millions, hundreds of thousands, and definitely, really in any industry it's applicable. It just depends on the situation and your personality and your style. So that's why I want to teach it. Hey, so grab a pencil and paper and let's dive into it. Lesson one. Your time is your greatest asset. And I know a lot of you accountants think money is your most valuable asset, but it's not. You can think time is. Just think, what you do today shapes tomorrow. You can spend all the time you want thinking about a great future, but actually it's developed through the things you do in the day-to-day. So you can't get back time. Time is definitely the most important thing. Every hour that is spent chasing an unqualified prospect is an hour you could have spent helping someone who was ready to buy. So qualification isn't being judgmental, it's being professional. Doctors don't perform surgery on everyone who walks through the door, they evaluate. Lawyers don't accept every case, they evaluate. It's the same deal with architects, right? They don't begin construction after a 5-minute conversation, that'd be nuts. They evaluate, so you guys shouldn't do the same. Does that make sense? Alright, let's go to lesson 2. Metrics. Let's start with the M in MEDDICC. Metrics is what the M stands for. Guys, you own businesses, you own firms, you understand that businesses make decisions using numbers. Well, obviously you should too. So think, one of the biggest mistakes professionals make is discussing price before understanding financial impact. Imagine someone says, right, I need bookkeeping. I don't want you to ask, well, what package interests you? Okay? Instead ask, what is inaccurate bookkeeping costing your business today? Silence. Let them answer. Guys, because they've never calculated it. Now help them. Late invoices, payroll mistakes, missed deductions, owner time, poor financial decisions, tax penalties, lost opportunities. Every business has measurable consequences. Every business problem has measurable consequences, all right? So let's say the owner spends 6 extra hours every week correcting bookkeeping issues. Well, that's 6 hours every week at a conservative value of $200 an hour. Guys, that's $62,000 annually. Suddenly, a $600 monthly bookkeeping engagement doesn't feel expensive. Metrics transform cost into investment. Let me give you a good word track. If we solve this problem completely, what financial impact would that have on your business over the next 12 months, John? Talk to me about that. Boom! All right, make sure you write that down and use it on your calls if you want to increase your profit, increase your revenue, right? Hey, let's go to lesson 3, the E in MEDDICC. Economic buyer, write that down. Economic buyer, right? Make sure you're writing all this down. And you need to understand, one of the fastest ways for you to lose a deal is presenting to someone who can't say yes. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but people do it all the time, right? Many accountants spend weeks speaking with office managers, administrative assistants, controllers, or operation coordinators. They gather information. They love the presentation. They thank you. And guess what? Nothing! Well, why? Because they couldn't authorize the purchase, okay? An economic buyer is the individual with the authority to approve the investment. Sometimes it's the owner. Sometimes it's a managing partner. It's a CFO. Sometimes it's a board, right? You should never assume. Never. You should have cat-like curiosity in every deal that you go into. Let me give you a good word track to conclude this lesson 3. Just so I understand your process, when your firm invests in outside accounting services, who makes the final decision in that? Bam! It's simple, it's professional, and it's respectful. All right, let's go to lesson 4. The D stands for decision criteria. Okay, the D in MEDDICC stands for decision criteria. And for me, I feel like this answers one question. How will they choose? Every buyer evaluates providers differently. Some prioritize price, others value expertise, industry specialization, responsiveness. There's technology, trust, speed, strategic guidance. So there's a plethora of things, right? So never guess. I want you to actually ask. Let me give you a good way to ask. Hey, so Marcus, when you're comparing accounting firms, what are the 2 or 3 most important factors you'll use to make your decision? Now you know exactly what matters. Ding, 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 ding. All right, let's go to lesson 5. D, remember there's another one. D, decision process. D, decision process. This is different from decision criteria, okay? Decision criteria answers what matters, where decision process answers how do you buy, right? You need to know. You need to know. You need to know who approves, who reviews who reviews proposals. Is there another meeting? Will legal review it? Is there a partner vote? Will they compare multiple firms? Look, the more uncertainty here, the more likely the deal will stall. So let me give you a word track. So, John, can you walk me through what happens after today's conversation? What are the next steps internally for your firm? That single question eliminates surprises. All right, let's go to lesson 6. Let's go to lesson 6. Identify pain. Guys, understand this. So, pain isn't just frustration. Pain is the force that creates change. There are 5 types of business pain. Let me give you the first one. First of all, just so you know, there's financial pain, there's operational pain, there's strategic pain, personal pain. Now let me give them all to you here. Financial pain is when they're saying things like revenue, margins, cash flow, taxes. Operational pain would be things like broken system, missed deadlines, inefficiency. Strategic pain sounds like this. Our growth has stalled. Expansion has become difficult. We don't have financial visibility. Emotional pain is stress, burnout, fear, uncertainty. So what you'll hear is a loss of confidence. Personal pain. And if you're really good at your job, you'll get them to bring up personal pain. Okay, missing family dinners, working weekends, always feeling behind. The deeper the pain, what happens is it creates stronger motivation. Remember what we learned in gap selling, and go back and watch that video of mine if you haven't. People rarely buy because they need bookkeeping. They buy because they want relief. All right, let's go to lesson 7. The C stands for champion. And this is where elite salespeople separate themselves. A champion is someone inside the organization who wants you to win. Not because you're friends, because your solution helps them succeed. Imagine a controller who's tired of cleaning up inaccurate books. If you solve that problem, guys, they become your advocate. Champions never question when you're not in the room. They explain your value internally. They defend your proposal. Great salespeople don't just build rapport with buyers. They create internal advocates. All right, let's go to lesson 8. This C stands for competition. See before champion, this C, competition. And most people think competition means like other accounting firms. Usually. Well, it doesn't. Your competitors are. Okay, understand this. Your competitors, they're doing nothing. They're just waiting. All right, QuickBooks automation, hiring internally, existing CPA, a spouse handles the books, the owner belief that the owner basically believes that, hey, this is good enough. We got this under control. We're rolling right here, right? But understand this. Inaction is often the strongest competitor because it feels safe. So your job is to show the cost of staying the same. You got to do it every time. Hey, you guys everything still seems really nice over here. You're not really making many changes. But let's show what happens if we stay on this path and we don't. All right, let's go to lesson 9. The psychology of qualification. Guys, most salespeople fear qualifying because they're afraid of losing the deal. Ironically, poor qualification is what loses the deal. Think about that. When you ask thoughtful, business-focused questions, 2 things happen. You learn whether the opportunity is real, and number 2 is the prospect begins to see you as a professional advisor and not a vendor. Notice the shift. You're no longer chasing every lead. You're evaluating whether there's a mutual fit. And that changes the power dynamic. Professionals qualify and amateurs hope. So let's go to lesson 10, the MEDDICC flow. Here's how this framework comes together in real conversation. Number 1, build rapport. Number 2, identify measurable business impact, metrics, okay? 3, confirm the economic buyer. 4, understand decision criteria. Number 5, map the decision process. 6, explore deep business plan. 7, identify or create a champion. 8, understand true competition. 9, recommend a solution only after qualification is complete. By the time you present your recommendation, there should be very few surprises because you've already uncovered how the client thinks, who decides, what matters, and what success looks like. So let me give you some word tracks to end the video. So instead of saying, can I tell you about our bookkeeping package? I want you to say this. Before we discuss solutions, I'd like to understand how this issue is impacting your business financially. Instead of saying, when do you want to start? Say this instead. What would need to happen internally for your firm to feel comfortable moving forward? Instead of saying, hey, who else is involved? Say this instead. Besides yourself, who else will be a part of evaluating and approving a decision like this? Instead of saying, are you comparing other firms? I want you to say this. When you compare your options, what alternatives are you considering? Including doing nothing? Look, I'm going to leave you with this challenge. For your next 5 sales conversations, don't focus on closing, focus on qualifying. Know the numbers, know the decision maker, know the buying process, know what success looks like, know the real pain, know who is advocating for you, know what you're competing against. Because when qualification is thorough, closing becomes much easier. Happens every single time. It's not about being persuasive. It's not that simple, guys. The best salespeople, they're not simply persuasive, they're disciplined. And MEDDICC gives you a disciplined framework to spend your time where it has the greatest return, helping qualified buyers solve meaningful business problems. I love making these videos. I hope this was helpful for you. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Hey, let me know if you're closing. Make sure you leave a like. Check us out at Universal Accounting Center. We'll see you in the next one.